Hey guys.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Tonight's class is going to be a little bit shorter. I'll fill you in on it here in a little bit, but then there's going to be another video that I upload onto Google Classroom for the other chunk of class that we're going to cut out of here tonight. But as soon as these guys are all in here, I'll tell them all at the same time.
Okay, cool.
You're going to have to help me out. Who is KK's iPhone?
Caitlin Moses.
Caitlin, perfect. I like your name with it. I was just like, I don't know KK. I didn't know, maybe you guys like the class so much you're like bringing friends into my Zoom now too. Just kidding.
My dog's here, but that's about it.
Oh, nice. What kind of dog do you have?
She's a lab spaniel mix.
Sweet.
Kind of old. Little old lady. She just sleeps all day.
Nice, nice. My own dog is mad at me for being here tonight. She really wanted me to stay at home. She was not having the fact that I left.
Could just bring
I could just bring her.
her. Yeah.
I'm sure that would not be frowned upon. Could you see like a little puppy like face mask? My dog's like 7 pounds. It would actually be.
Mine is overweight, very fat. She makes it work though.
Yeah.
I had a flat tire and I was at the gas station on Zoom. So that's why I finished on my queue. So I was in my car here.
I feel your pain.
I was late, I couldn't get back to my apartment to go on my computer, so I had to wait to change my tire. And I knew he would give me crap for it, so I just said my camera doesn't work.
I feel your pain. Hello.
Hello. No.
Ten, 11. It's gonna be here a little late, and then we're missing one more who is going to watch the playback, I think. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Tonight is going to be shortened a little bit, and you're gonna have more time to just like go home, work on things. Because a piece of what we were going to do tonight, one of the activities, a key piece of it, I have in the trunk of my car, packed and ready to come here, but I didn't drive my car here. And so like, it's not even here. So what I'm going to do with that chunk of the lesson, so it's like one whole like art and literacy lesson that you could do with students. I'm going to make one of my classes at school do that lesson, and I'm just gonna literally teach them that lesson, and I'll just record it, and I'll upload that to Blackboard, and that way you can see it in action, and then we'll just have it that way. So instead of you getting to experience it, you're just going to get to see it. I apologize, but that's the other half of like my crazy day, right? So that's gonna cut off a chunk of our time tonight, but you'll basically just have to like pay back that time watching a YouTube video about that class. If I seem a little kind of crazy and frazzled tonight, it's because of like everything has gone wrong today, and my last end of the stick was at 5:05. I tried starting my car and it wouldn't start, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I cancel class? Like, I'm supposed to be teaching in like a half hour. Like, what do I do? And my in-laws, they're usually my go-to people for borrowing vehicles, things like that, because they're only like a mile away from us. They left on vacation yesterday, and of course they drove on vacation, so like they have a car in their garage I could use. It's not gonna be the greatest one, but I know that's what my week is looking like. But I had no way to get it a mile away. Like I'm not jogging there to go get it, to drive back to my house, to get here like covered in sweat. Like I like you guys, but that was not an option. So then I'm going through like my list of like, what neighbors do I know? And do I know well enough that they would let me take their car? So I actually found one, which is great. But then I'm like panicking, like, oh my gosh, I'm parked in the parking lot without my sticker. Like, I just see this like rolling and snowballing, like, and just continuing to be terrible. My husband sending me texts about like, I told him my car's dead in the garage, and he's like, seriously? I'm like, yes, I'm sorry. Like, he's at a track meet or cross country meet somewhere, like just looking at like, okay, that's gonna be a nice couple $1,000 bill probably to fix it. Oy teve. So we're gonna do what we can. I'm gonna try and like regain my composure, but like that was not really all that long ago in my world. But we're gonna integrate art and literature in some different ways. We're gonna do the activities that we can. The stuff that we can't do in here, I will find ways of getting a way for you to see that, okay? And you'll have some work time at the end, and I'm probably going to take this car back to my neighbor's and look at my dead car in the garage. Not that I can do anything to fix it. Okay, but we are going to get started. If anybody who has any questions over, I want to say last 2 weeks ago, like you were completely lost on something, fair number of you turned things in early, which was good, before you kind of forget about it. It's all going kind of okay? All right, I still have a list of some of the science lesson plans to grade, and if you turned anything in over the weekend. Bye. All right. So one of the ways that you could incorporate art and literature is taking a story, taking a children's story. It could have pictures, it might not have pictures. Maybe it's a piece of poetry, right? But taking that and letting them create the illustration with it. This particular one I like in particular because this book is a bit of a poem. Definitely has a lot of different ways that you could use it language-wise in teaching things. And then just like creatively, there's gonna be a lot of different things you can come up with, at least a kid can, for like down the back of the chair, like what could be down behind that chair, okay? So I am going to switch my projector. And zoom out. It's going to hate me with the glare of the lights overhead, but that's okay. All right, so I have the book on here. Ladies on the Zoom, you can listen in. You won't really be able to see it, but I will say if you were to click on the slide, there's a link that shows a different person reading the video. And if you wanted to see the images, like you could easily like click that link and like not have the audio, but you might be able to see it that way, or you can just watch it in playback. Okay. All right. So this one is called Down the Back of the Chair. All right. This is exactly how I feel today. Our car is slow to start and go. We can't afford a new one. Now, if you please, Dad's lost the keys. We're facing rack and ruin. No car, no work, no pay. We're growing poorer day by day. No wonder Dad is turning gray. This morning is a blue one. Seriously, that's how I feel. Nothing but ducats in his pockets, raging with despair. Dad acts appalled, though nearly bald, tries to tear his hair. But Mary, who is barely 2, says Dad should do what I would do. I lose a lot, but I find a few down the back of the chair. He's patted himself and searched the shelf. He's hunted here and there. So now he'll kneel and try to feel right down the back of the chair. Oh, it seemed to grin as his hand went in. He felt a tingling under his skin. What will a troubled father win from down the back of the chair? Some hairy string and a diamond ring were down the back of the chair. A pineapple peel and a conger eel were down the back of the chair. A sip, a sup, a sop, a song, a spider 7 inches long. No wonder that it smells so strong down the back of the chair. A packet of pins and one of the twins down the back of the chair. A pan, a fan that belonged to Gran down the back of the chair. A crumb, a comb, a clown, a cap, a pirate with a treasure map, a dragon trying to take a nap down the back of the chair. A cake, a drake, a smiling snake down the back of the chair. A string of pearls, a lion with curls down the back of the chair. A skink, a skunk, a skate, a ski, a couple of elephants drinking tea, a bandicoot and a bumblebee down the back of the chair. But what is this? Oh bliss, down the back of the chair. The long lost will of Uncle Bill down the back of the chair. His money box all crammed with cash, tangled up in a scarlet sash. There's pleasure, treasure, toys, and trash down the back of the chair. I found my dreams, our father beams down the back of the chair. At last I see how life can be down the back of the chair. Forget the keys, we're poor no more. Just call a taxi to the door. A taxi shot out with a roar from down the back of the chair. The chair, the challenging chair, the champion chair, the cheerful chair, the charming chair, the children's chair, the chopped and chipped but chosen chair. To think our fortune waited there, down the back of the chair. And that happens to be the end. But I'm going to open it up just for some of your ideas. Thinking about some of the things that you heard with it. Those of you that were in here seeing the images, but thinking about like what were some of the things that you might, if you were to choose this book, like what are some like literacy connections, or if you have students working on like word building or sentence structure or poetry, like what do you think you might have them do with it? Any ideas?
I would probably say something I noticed was like alliteration before like the repetition of saying like the back of the chair.
Mm-hmm. So the alliteration right before down the back of the chair. There's somebody in here who was about ready to share. I feel like I heard a voice.
I can.
Yeah.
They kind of use like adjectives to describe the things that were in the chair.
Okay, using adjectives to describe the things.
Like format columns, kind of.
Okay, how to format. So one of the things that I think of is like changing the front part of the stanza, but always ending with down the back of the chair. Kind of links in with the alliteration too in parts.
Yeah.
It does have some rhyming in other parts.
So I think it was like every other, at the end of the sentence, every word fine. But like the nurse on home, so it's like A, B, A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, they could even, second or third grade, they could totally even figure out like which lines are the rhyming ones. Like they could establish what type of poem it is. Yeah. All right, so one of the things that I would have students do is I would first figure out if they have paper. Like I said, I'm still looking around like, do I have everything? I'm in that moment right now. Did I bring it? All right. So ladies, you are going to want a sheet of paper. It could be lined paper, anything that you have that you can just kind of draw on for a second. All right, if I was walking through my students with how to do this, one of the things I would do is I would break it down into very simple steps. So like there's a piece of me that would be like, hey, we'll draw a chair on your piece of paper and then you're gonna draw things coming out of it. But how many people in here would kind of look at me like, I don't know how to draw a chair. Like, right? So like just saying like, draw a chair. You're like, I don't know how, like I have to give them a little bit of structure before I set them free. Because otherwise, if they don't feel like they could be successful, they're gonna stop on that piece that they're hung up on. And they're not gonna like try on like the creative, the thinking part of it. And to be all honest, I probably don't necessarily care like what the chair looks like in and of itself, but I want them to be more creative with it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go step by step on how to do this. Ladies, I'm gonna show them and then I'm going to show the screen, okay? All right, so the first step on your paper. Roughly, I'm going to do it kind of in the middle, okay?
How many chairs?
How many, there's 6 steps, 1 chair. So you're gonna make 1 chair and then eventually you're gonna make things coming out of it. So you do need some space around it, but it doesn't need to be like teeny tiny. Okay, so first step that I'm gonna have you do. First step on your sheet, I'm gonna have you draw the front of the seat of the chair. Can I find the freeze button? What if I can't find the freeze button? I've just made this hard on myself. Actually, you can actually see it if I step out of the way. Not the red circle though. So first step, you're gonna draw the front of the seat. Okay? On my paper, this is probably the width of a Kit Kat, but not the length of a Kit Kat, because that would be like a love seat.
Are we starting here in the middle?
Yeah, that's a perfect spot. That is perfect. No, it is. It's like the width of a Kit Kat, but like half of the Kit Kat. Perfect.
Mine too big? Yeah, look at-
And you know what? You have a nice cushion on your seat. That makes me just want to go visit your chair more. Like maybe we'll have to trade chairs. All right. Does everyone have the rectangle, the front of the seat?
Yes.
Okay. Second step. You already have the front of the seat. Now you're going to add 2 circles for the front of the armrest. So they're up and just out from the corners a little bit. No, it's just a rectangle and 2 circles. You got this. I do like that you got all your pens out though. No, keep them out. You're going to need them. You think I was joking. I really do like that you got them out. All right, are we good on our rectangle and our 2 circles? No. I bet they're perfect. Okay. The next step, we're going to draw the front side of the chair. So this is actually the piece that's going to go under the seat that connects the arms and the bottom. This is one of those like trust me steps. You're like, I'm trusting you. All right, we're good. Step 4. We are going to draw the back. Now, no, catch that one falls. All right, so here's the deal. When I put the wrong thing on the screen, you have to move it to the side. And when everything's zoomed in, it's harder to do. Okay. Here's the first thing that I look at. This shape right here is a no.
Rectangle.
No.
A cube.
A sideways one. Well, then you push over. Okay. So, oftentimes with little kids, they're going to know it as a parallelogram. Also has other names depending on which family of 4-sided figures it's in, right? So, maybe working on the shape. So first up, I would add a parallelogram on top of my rectangle. And then I'm going to make the swoopy back of my chair. The different shape of this, that just gives it personality. It's okay. Nice, I like it. Or it could be just perfect. All right, are we good with step 4? Step 5 is the one step that feels the most awkward, but you almost have to just go with it. So when you do the armrest and you think about like little kid level, right, of what they're going to be able to do, the first thing we need is a line that's from the top edge of the circle, so almost like the tangent of the circle, back towards the back of the chair on both sides. And then the front of the armrest that comes from that very first rectangle. I made this one with kids. This one just depends on like their ability to like make that side rounded. If they're pretty good at shading, you probably wouldn't even need this line. Oh, have no fear. All right, and the final 6th step. Oh, hold on, okay. You ready? All right, 6th step, we are adding legs. So mine just happen to be circles, yours could be more rectangular, they could be like thinner at the bottom, maybe a little more flared out at the top, that's totally up to you. All right. Hang on. The armrest of the chair. You know you could draw a chair, did you?
Let me see for a second. It's so small. Yeah, just a little chair.
All right, we are going to add 3 things to your picture. Thing number 1, you need to add something that you know for sure you would find down the back of your chair. Probability, like this is totally down the back of my chair. You're probably making it somewhere outside of the chair though, so we can actually see it. So thing number 1, something that you would actually find down the back of your chair.
Are we supposed to be doing this in color?
You can do it in color. If you want to jot these down on the side, I can also tell you the others if you want. So the first one, something you're actually going to find down the back of the chair. The second thing you're going to make is something you're scared to find down the back of the chair. Like you would be terrified if you found this. And the third thing is something you wish you would find down the back of the chair. Well, you better get drawing. It's a lot of dollars to draw. All right, something you probably would actually find, something you're terrified to find down the back of the chair, and something you wish you would find down the back of the chair. So in case you missed any of those steps, I usually just have the steps written out so that way I remember them as I'm doing them, but then also in case I need it for like a sub, I can keep this with the book, and it might be something that they would be able to walk the kids through. All right, as we keep things rolling along, do I have anyone who's willing to share their picture and tell us one of your three things, whether it's the thing that you would probably find down the back of the chair, whether it's the thing you're terrified to find down the back of the chair, or the thing you're wishing to find down the back of the chair? Yeah? Can I have you bring your picture up here
Yeah.
and place it here so that way your classmates can see it too?
There?
You can, if you put it there and then step to the side, they should be able to see it, I think.
I'm scared to find a bloody knife down my chair. So that means there's a murderer in my house.
Yeah, that'd be scary. I'm hoping you didn't sit on your chair.
That's mine. What?
Okay, thank you for being brave and sharing that your fear with us. All right. Anybody else willing to be brave and share their drawing of one of the things that they found?
Oh, well, I only have two.
Perfect. Come on up. You'll have to share one. Yeah,
So I just did a snake, something that you
but I'm
don't.
gonna make you step that way.
Oh,
Just
sorry.
as,
Sorry.
and now they can see.
Okay.
Perfect.
And money.
A snake and
What do
money.
you want?
So you want to have the snake?
No, you don't.
No, you
Yeah,
don't.
Something, yeah.
You
What was
want the money? You're
Yeah,
terrified of the
want-
snake?
Yeah, sure.
So am I. I can't do it. I can't touch them. They're, oh,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't touch snakes. We actually have 2 leopard geckos and I can't touch those either. Can't do it. All right, do I have 2 more people volunteering? Oh, excellent. Come on up. You're gonna place it here, but then you're gonna have to step back. Oh, you're fine.
All right. So that's a bobby pin for those who are wondering. Like this one. I put both of them. And I don't want to have a mouse. And then that's a genie, not a teapot.
Oh, genie's lamp. Nice. Nice. Don't you feel like there's a layer of the earth somewhere that's all like hair ties and bobby pins that everybody lost? Guys, I don't know if you understand this problem, but it's a real problem that we have. They are somewhere. They are somewhere. All right, one more person willing to share. Excellent. I love your bravery. Yeah. Oh, but you are today.
Okay. Oh, this way. So I said I was scared if I found mouse or bugs in my chair
Ooh, mice or bugs, yuck.
because it grosses me out because now I have to throw it away. And then I said I'd find like popcorn or wrappers probably.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 That's when you know you need to get the vacuum out, right? Excellent. All right, we are going to do one more activity with down the back of the chair. But this one is more of an, when I say arts-based, this one's more of a theatrical arts-based. Yeah. We totally are. Oh, this one's fine. You don't even have to say a thing. You don't have to dance, but you could. It is a possibility. All right, I need to figure out how I'm doing this video. Ladies, I'm sorry if you're getting like motion sickness or something, okay? You want to doodle on your chair? You can doodle during class on your chair, but you can't right now because I need you to stand up. All right, push your chairs and stand up, but you're gonna keep 6 feet space. So we're going to make a circle. Those of you in the middle of the circle, you have to find your way to an outside space, but that's not in somebody else's space. There's one right there. There's maybe one straight over there. Okay. So, ladies online, I didn't get a response on that, so I'm gonna have you watch as opposed to participate, because at this point it's gonna take me too long to figure out how to get my Zoom up on the big screen. Okay. So we are going to do an activity called Amorphous Blob. Anybody ever play it? Nope. Excellent. You are also unwillingly going to play along. I love it. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I need you to think about the 3 things that you had on your drawing. This might be another way you could share out what they drew. Or you could have them think of something totally new. But things that would be down the back of the chair, okay? We are going to make those things out of this blob that I have right here. So this is the amorphous blob. Now this blob, I can stretch it, I can pull it, I can shape it into anything that I need. But after I shape it into what I think is down the back of the chair, I'm going to pass it on, and you need to reshape it into what you think is down the back of the chair. Okay? And at the end, we're gonna guess what people made. Okay? Now, here's the deal. When I shape it, I cannot make any noises, sounds, or say anything. So it's almost like you are painting it. Okay? All right, amorphous blob. Things that you find down the back of the chair. Trying to make sure I'm matching on the video.
Yes, yours now.
It's okay.
So do I act out what you did?
No, you act out what you're doing. Okay. What are some things that were down the back of the chair that you remember seeing from others?
Casey's phone.
Hello?
Rachel had a point.
Umbrella?
Mhm.
Bug?
No.
I'm not sure.
It wasn't very good, but I was like doing like a dog. I don't know. I was doing like weird. I don't know.
You like the-
And then like.
You
I
had
told
bobby
you, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a bobby pin. I forgot your name.
I had a ruler.
That's the same thing.
You didn't have the bloody knife, did you?
Yeah, I tried
You
to
did? Then you like cut something?
make it pointy.
Three of you left? What did they make?
Autumn had a mouse. Mine was popcorn. Oh, like this.
A snake. Oh. How was that? What did you have?
A box, chunk box.
A box. You made it really fast and then tossed it on.
Yeah, I was nervous.
Panic, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Ponytail.
A ponytail? Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you for participating and taking a risk with us. Amorphous blob is great for when you're trying to talk about objects. Another time where you could do that might be, oh gosh, something that comes right to mind would be if we were going on a trip, things that we're going to bring. Say we were studying the westward expansion, what would they bring on the Oregon Trail with them? Like you might have them kind of plan things out, ways that they can get up, move around without actually like a lot of talking. You can kind of check for their understanding of things that they might actually be packing on the wagon. Lots of different ways you can do it. Just different ways of sharing out things like that. All right, if we switch back over to this. So with this, I'm going to screen share. Number 2. All right, so with this, when we are having them draw something that's not physically in front of them, we're working on their envisioning skills. They're trying to create something that's not there. So if you think about like jobs that are out in the world today, a lot of jobs, they need to have creative envisioning. Like you have to solve problems. That solution isn't there. So we have to find ways to like actually train kids to be able to do that, right? So giving them a problem that starts concrete, but then you need them to create the next thing, but it doesn't actually, it's not out there, like they have to kind of imagine it. So we could take the down the back of the chair one step further and like we could make them elaborate on like this crazy story of these 4 things that they pulled out of the back of the chair, and like they could really start elaborating on that envisioning step. But do you see how just one book could have possibilities of going back in and talking about the writing, how it's written, language in it, creating some things where they're going back and drawing with it. It doesn't just have to be, you know, we read the book, studied, like finding creative ways to do it. All right, I'm going to pause on this one. So we are going to talk about Caldecott Awards, but we're going to pause on that. We are going to do an in-class activity, and I have 5 sets of markers, but here's my request. You don't necessarily have to use any of the same markers that anybody else is, but what I am going to request is make sure that you've used hand sanitizer, because that'll cut down on how much we have to clean when it's all done. So if you use hand sanitizer first, that's going to help things out. Ladies, I'm gonna figure out how I'm going to have you watch this, whether I have a group that does this right next to it or whether I do. What you're going to need. You are going to need I lied. 5 sheets of white paper, 1 piece of plastic. So with that, like you've already cleaned your hands, hand sanitizer, right? And then you're gonna choose the plastic. There's 2 options with this. I can either go plastic Ziploc bag, or maybe you're like really fancy in your classroom and you have the overhead clear projector transparency sheets. Do you guys even know what an overhead projector is? Sort of like that technology existed when you were little.
Yeah.
Okay, so some schools still have these around, right? So we're gonna use a piece of plastic. You don't need both, you just need one or the other. Benefits, you don't have to mess with the inside of a bag. Benefits, it's bigger than your sheet of paper, the Ziploc bag, which is actually going to help you out a smidge bit, right? This one is the exact size, so your aim has to be pretty good when you stamp it. But it's still totally, they both work just fine. So 5 sheets of white paper, piece of plastic, and I have 5 bags of markers. I'm gonna try and figure out what I'm gonna do with you two. Since they're all kind of paired up, we'll divide them, probably, okay? All right, so if you've already hand sanitized, why don't you go grab your paper? Each group needs 5 sheets of paper and 1 piece of plastic. If you were to fight over the markers, which one would you want? You get half. You don't care about the rest? Okay, I'll be back. This ain't what? You're longer. Four or 5? Where was that? Okay. All right, with this, I'm gonna show you what we do, And then you're gonna have some time where you can either take a break, go outside, go to the bathroom, get a drink, whatever, because you're gonna have to wait your turn. And I only have 3 spray bottles, because that's the life in my car right now. Okay. First, I'm gonna show these guys while I talk you through it, and then I'll do one down closer to you, okay? All right, ladies, I'm gonna see if I can get my camera on my table here. Okay, I have a sheet of paper underneath my plastic. You won't normally, okay? I'm doing that just so that you can see it on this black table. Actually, I'm changing my mind. I'm just gonna put some paper towels under it.
Yeah. Didn't go to that.
You know that moment when you hand out all your markers and then you need some? So, regular watercolor markers. So they're not special washable ones or anything like that. We are going to take them and you are going to get some ink on your plastic.
You want us to?
So when I do this, I'm going to take my next color and I'm actually going to stripe it into my orange a little bit.
I don't understand.
Then I'm going to stripe my third color in. If you think about colors that are on a color wheel, colors that mix together really well will be colors that you kind of want to keep together. So right now, I've got just marker on my plastic, okay? You got that so far, ladies?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna take just an ordinary spray bottle. Could be like a hairspray bottle that like you had emptied out. Anything that can just kind of create a mist on the plastic sheet. So I want to activate the watercolor from the marker and turn it more into like a watercolor paint. So it's all kind of a watery, super kind of wet mess on here. I'm gonna take my typing paper and literally we're just doing this with printer paper. So I'm just gonna press that down. And after that, when I peel it up, it is just a watercolor stained paper. So we're gonna be using these in a little bit. I'm gonna set mine over on the carpet to dry. If you guys are able to do this with markers somewhere around that you have, great. If not, you're just gonna have to kind of see what we did, okay? All right, so that's the basics of that. Now I'm gonna get these guys started so that they are doing this in the classroom, okay? But I just take paper towels, wipe off the top layer. I usually take the end of the roll of paper towels at school. So these are like the ones that they take out of the big dispensers. That way I don't have to like buy a whole bunch. But if I wipe off the front and the back of the plastic, it's ready for new colors. All right. Now for the whole group, just fair warning, you are kind of on camera, but at a really far distance. Smile and wave. Just kidding. Okay, so when it gets to you, meaning you're gonna have a little bit of a break, you probably could do both people in your group at the same time because you're already kind of sharing some markers and things. I've got my piece of plastic. I put a couple paper towels underneath it. Okay. That's just gonna capture some of the runoff, so it's less cleaning for me in the end. 3 or 4 different colors. I like to choose colors that will blend well into each other. Colors that are across from each other on the color wheel will make brown. So yellow and purple will make brown. If you want that to happen, that's fine. Most kids don't want that to happen. Orange and blue will make brown. Red and green will make brown. Different kinds, right? So I'm gonna take my marker. This is not a precise thing. I'm literally just getting some ink down on my page. As quick as possible. Then I'm gonna take my pinkish color. I'm gonna mark some of it into my orange. The part of me that really loves having clean markers would probably ask that you put yellow down first. So that way the other colors layer into yellow and then like the yellow still decent. Okay, so all I did was scribble on the plastic. If it's on the plastic bag, perfect. Okay? Watercolor markers are literally made with watercolor ink. So what we're going to do is we're going to add more water and just kind of activate it to like a paint stand. Like, so we don't want it to act like a marker, we want it to act like paint. Then I'm going to take one of the sheets of typing paper and I'm going to stamp it on top. It's probably going to come out of my hand. You took an elementary art class. Like, you paid good money for this color on the side of your hand. Then when I peel it off, it is going to drip towards the corner. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, see, you guys didn't know you could do this. Big drip on the edge. I'm just going to get that on the paper towel. The benefit of having blackish gray carpet in here is nobody sees our mess. It's fine. I have just a third paper towel that I'm going to take and wipe the top of my plastic off. And it's ready for my next one.
So are we doing this like next to?
I want you, so when it happens, I'm going to pass the paper towels in the spray bottles kind of by station. We can wipe them off and clean them off in between, that's fine. But you need to do 3 of your white papers and dye them. So 2 of your papers just set aside.
But like,
Like, are we doing this together or do you have to have your own?
You're each gonna do 3.
oh, there's 2.
You're each gonna do 3.
You get me in plastic?
Or Ziploc bags?
Yep, don't color on the inside, color on the outside. It's just a piece of plastic. So Ziploc bags people just on the outside. Let me tell you, there's a lot of plastics that happen to have Ziploc bags.
You did.
In between, you should go straight and then virtually ready.
I am not here.
I got some good towels. Thank you.
Another kind of trick of having things, I don't have a great exact knife on me right now, but a lot of times I will take a box cutter and I'll just slice down and it'll make a weird color cut.
Yeah, we'll just use this one. That way we're not.
All right, there are 3 squirt bottles are out at tables.
Here we go.
Not at a table that has one. But if you feel like you need to run to the bathroom, take a break, anything like that, go for it.
How much do I spray water?
As soon as it starts looking like it's running together. What color is that from? Yellow and purple. Red and orange, or red and green, orange and blue.
Give me the purple.
In the yellow and orange.
How much do you spray?
That's what I was like,
Wait, were we?
Like,
it's okay.
Actually,
I don't know, but a good amount. Okay.
One spray bottle.
Me.
We're supposed to do 3 of this, right?
3 white papers, yep.
Ooh, look at mom.
Some of you are kind of near a wall that you can like set yours on the floor at.
Oh, mine's just out in the middle.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's just
Oh.
Now we get to do another. Oh, no, my paper. Oh.
Wait, so it's wearing the plastic part?
How do these look together?
Oh, yeah, there's.
Yellow first, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can I have, the marker? Put those ones back in there.
I would do 3 different colors each time.
Did you say 3 different colors?
Up to you. So this is when you clean the desk when we're all done today. You'll get all the marker out.
Hey, we'll put in the things.
And then we will make anything. No, it's not red.
Right.
I don't think I got this all the way dry.
It's okay.
Use your best friend.
Oh, I took mine off there.
Oh, this.
You honestly learn a lot after the very first one that you do. And you're like, oh, too much butter. Or, oh, not enough butter.
What's this? Somebody's my puppet. There's a picture of this video. Let's check my grades on it. Yeah, I think it was like the almost that on the light picture.
Oh, yeah. Is that the one I asked you to upload a different picture?
Yeah.
Okay, did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. That looks pretty.
So much water. This one's gonna be fabulous. Like I said, you kind of learn from the first one.
You do. It's not a lot.
Ooh. I got the new idea for a minute.
I had not spent 3 on my list.
Okay, you want these colors?
I'm looking for it.
No, you're good.
The markers you.
Why snake crap?
No, I think I gained some books last time. Like, I think they brought me books that were mine.
So reading circle.
My useless.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and design.
My idea.
You got some.
I just can't find it. I think this will turn out. We will turn out as my design.
I think they'll mix together a lot. You might see a little bit of the spiral.
Ooh.
I still have.
Who knows if you'll actually see my marks.
Oh no, I still have to. If I have.
It doesn't matter. What did you say? I tried to do a spiral. It doesn't work? I might cut off. Oops, got it on the back.
All right, by show of numbers on your fingers, how many have you made? 3. Right? Nice, nice. No, you're okay. I started over here, so I fully knew that that side of the room would be like behind.
Oh, see, my heart kind of came out.
Yeah? A little bit. It's kind of running right now, though.
Sorry. I'm well aware.
Okay.
Are we done?
Yeah, so that's probably going to be the only thing you need those markers for. So if you are wiping off the plastic to put away, you can grab one of the sanitizing wipes, you can use it on markers, you can use it on part of the table to clean up part of that. You're only dying 3 weeks.
Do this. Anybody all day.
Other people need spray bottles? Okay.
I'm gonna go wash.
Yep. Yep, plastic, you go back over there. Nobody else touch it for 6 months. Yeah, just wipe those off. Excellent.
Around the yellow.
Ready? All right, well, those of you in the back are finishing up. Those in the front. What are some things that we know about Caldecott Awards? Nothing. Okay. Never heard of it? Do you ever see the little award medal in the front of the book? Okay. So the Caldecott Award is actually for illustrations. Okay. So the person illustrating the book, the illustrator, they are doing something that makes that book above and beyond amazing with the illustrations. Okay. I brought that up just because from an art standpoint, if you're trying to embed arts into your classroom, that might be one surefire way to like show quality artwork. So like there's already been a group that has deemed that really, really quality picture book, right? So with your article review for this week, you're not actually doing an article review. You're doing a book review. Your job is to read a children's book. If you do not have access to one, I've got a partial library of ones that I had in my art classroom back when I taught elementary. If you want to borrow one of the books, nobody has touched them since February 5th of last year. Your name goes here, the title of the book goes there. You can take it with you, you can write your review, you bring it back with you next week, okay? Yes.
Is there like a template or whatever about what the review has to be stuff, or are we doing the same thing we did with the article?
Sort of not really the same thing. Like as I was saying that, I was like, no, it's not really. Okay. Some things to think about when you're reviewing a book. Things that might be important to you as a teacher. Right? It says non-fiction book review. Just ignore that. But some things to kind of like think about with it, right? So like, is there anything special about the content in this particular story? Like, how are we ensuring any accuracy of words? If it's a book about seeds growing, like what's to ensure that that's actually like you're telling kids truthful things, even though it's a children's book, right? Is it well written? You already got one. I'm just losing my mind. It's okay. You also want to think about what are some applications ideas for this particular book. Think about maybe like the author's message. You could be tying that into like lessons, but you want to pull that into your article review of it. So you want to think about the merits of the imagery. So what is it that makes the pictures worthwhile for the kids seeing them? Merits of the physical text. Is there something about the words, the story that makes it worthwhile? Merits of the content, the meaning, or the story. And then some ideas of how you would use it with students. Okay? So there's a bunch of books up here that you can choose from. You can choose one from home, not a problem. You don't have one at home, there's plenty of books on like YouTube where people are reading them. So that way you'd be able to see the pictures, hear the story, things like that. You'd still be able to select one and make it work, even if you don't have a physical one in your hand, right? So article review is a book review. Okay? Any questions on article review? This is the lovely lesson that you're not doing. I know, you're sad. You're sad. No. Okay, so when I was little, one of the jobs I really, really, really wanted, I still think this job would be fun. I wanted to like name the crayons for Crayola. Like I just wanted to like come up with the names. But here's the funny thing. Like that's an actual job. Like somebody does that. Like I wanted that to be me. So this is like the closest I can come to it at this point in time. So when we have paint swatches, right? Thinking about like, what are those colors? Like what's in a name? Okay, so what's in a word? So example, this particular one is called Nick Green Slime. What kind of color is it going to be? What kind of green? What does slimy green look like?
Neonish.
Bright? Neon? Okay, if I have a paint palette, what colors am I going to use to make that bright neon green? Yellow? White, maybe if I have it in my paint palette. Blue, a little bit. Right? So I'm going to be mixing the quantities. So with this particular lesson, we have paint tiles that you know the name of the color, but you don't know the color. And you have to read the word and come up with what you think the color would be. They're not all as easy as green slime or Nick Green Slime. Okay? Should be in color. So that one's pretty obnoxious bright green. But a lot of them are going to be like quieter ones. So like, what would a Harbor's Mist color be?
Gray or whitish.
Gray, whitish, maybe a little bit of blue in it, right? So like when you get those types of colors that have like different ones, what you're asking kids to do is like, okay, I've heard this word. These are like places that I've seen it or I remember from it. And like, what kind of color like is triggered from that? And so they're trying to pull together all these different things. And then they have to create like a little output of like color. So on the paper, I would have students creating just like their own little like paint tile slab of like what their guess is of it. And then their group would bring me their gray tiles back. And I would give them an envelope that has like the real color tiles. And then they would get to see what the actual color is. And then I have them try and mix the actual color. Some kids are really super excited when they are spot on. Some kids are like, whoa, what color is that? And like, and they'll talk about like the words that, what they were thinking from the words, what other kids were thinking from the words. And they're like, oh no, like that one meant like harbor, like all the harbors I know are like foggy. And they'll start just describing things. Okay? This particular one is one that I haven't done in person in class in here in a while, but we are going to talk our way through it, okay? This one I'll actually give you the lesson plan for. So with this, when I have students in class studying actual people, I have them do what's called a roll on the wall. So if we're studying historical people, we create a roll on the wall. If we're studying artists, we do a roll on the wall, okay? What happens with this is when we do roll on the wall, the first thing I'll have them do is, who's your artist or who's your person in history? I'll have them look up a photograph of that person if it is early enough in history that we have photos, right? So then I have them create an outline, a silhouette of that person. So it's just a line drawing of the person. Okay? In your head, can you imagine like what that is? Usually it's on a fairly good sized piece of paper that we're gonna put up on the wall. All right, with that, we then read about the artist, we look at their artwork, we research different books, different things. But every time we find a piece of artifact or information about the artist or the pilot or whoever it is that we're studying, we're going to bring that information back to our place that we're collecting that information, our roll on the wall, our silhouette of the person. So inside the silhouette are things that make this person who they are. Okay? Things along the silhouette, so right along the outside, we usually end up with like 4 or 5 rows of words. But those are quotes that are about that person or from that person, like they said it. Now, if I was doing, say, a musical artist, that might include lyrics of songs that they wrote. They're more of a composer. On the very outside, so in the background of the roll on the wall, we would list things about the person where they influence people outside of them. So if they're a father, a painter, an architect, they lived in France, those are all things that are going to be on the inside, and things that they affected other people are on the outside. Does that make sense? So when we collect information about people in my room, we have those up on the wall where they can actually see, go back to that. They usually get pretty excited when they find like a new piece of information, and they'll just randomly like go up to the wall and they're starting to like write on it. They'll add information to other people's, oh, I found this. I even have high schoolers that do this still. They dig it pretty much. It's okay. So that's just another way you could use just combining literacy where they're researching with it, right? It's not that they're creating something that's going to be displayed and they're going to show out on like conferences or whatnot, but it's a piece of work that's in the classroom that's like a living document, okay? All right, your creation. What? Hold up. Okay, so we've got options. Here's the deal. Every single one of these options has a hyperlink that has directions on how to do it. Okay? The circle one, if you're adventurous for a challenging task, you can go for that one. I'm not actually going to walk you through that in class. I've had, let's see, how many times have I taught this class now? 7? I've had 2 of those made. They turned out really, really cool, but they're a little bit more challenging, okay? This one, the diamond fold, and then this tri-shutter, those are the 2 most common ones that people will choose. Tri-shutter, you just have to kind of focus on step-by-step when you're doing it. Diamond fold is pretty easy. I usually have like little kids that can even do it, okay? So here's the deal. When you made your colored sheets of paper, we have an option of using those colored sheets of paper to cover the outside of ugly pieces of cardboard and making them look much better. Now, could you do this with other found pieces of paper or other things that they're making? Yes. I just wanted to show you a really quick way that like using watercolor markers, plastic, and like typing paper is super, super cheap. And like once it's dry, they can create things on it. So we're going to walk through how to cover the outside to create like the cover of the book. And then we're also going to walk through how to fold the inside. So you have some extra sheets of paper. If you want to do the tri-fold book, we're going to be creating the inside pages and we're going to layer some of them. So, or not the tri-fold, this one's the accordion fold. So if you want to make this one, that's where those extra 2 sheets of paper go, okay? A 4th option that is not on that list, and I did have 2 people last semester make these. So if I were to take some of the thinner cardboard, I can make tiny little books. when you're dealing with little elementary kids, they think nothing is cuter than like the world's smallest little things. Trust me, they will take notes forever on these. With this is just that same cereal box or like granola bar cardboard. This one happens to have a piece of cloth that's wrapped around it and just glued onto it, but we could easily do one of those. This one has 3 holes that are poked into it. I do have an X-Acto knife that we can kind of twist and make the holes with. The pages on this one, I would say they are not the same size, so they kind of are beveled when it's open, but I would make them the same size, and then when you fold it and close it, then I would trim them down to what you need, because you can always make them shorter, but you're not gonna be able to add on. When you thread it together, that's when they created a little piece that ties around it. Okay, if you want to see this one up here, you can. I have a thicker weight paper. If you want to do the trifold, so this top one, it needs to be a little bit thicker when we measure it out. I am going to look in my big bag of tricks over here. I know I have an example one that I've already made. So that way you can kind of look at it to see what the measurements are. I have 2 cutting mats and 2 X-Acto knives, I believe, that we can cut these slits right here. So when we cut those, this slit, it stops about 3 inches from the end and about 3 inches down. Same thing over here. That line stops, but then it continues over there until you have 3 inches left. That one would be more like upper elementary if you wanted to do that one. Or if I did it with younger kids, I would probably have to already cut the pieces. So like in that instance, I would only do this one with younger kids if I had like a practicum student or a student teacher where like there's 2 of us in the room and I could actually like get more things done, get around to more students that way. All right, so I need to look real quick in my bag for my example one of this, and I have some step-by-step directions for that, okay? Otherwise, you can always pull up the slide link that's on Blackboard, and it should be on there as well. All right, so if you are interested in the trifold,
What are we putting in these?
what are you putting in these books?
Because they have photos.
They have photos. Huh. Now see, the funny thing is that just tells me you haven't looked on Blackboard. So you're actually going to be making a book, first off. So half the task is making the book. The other half is filling it with information about someone who you find inspirational. Could be personal in your family, could be more like mainstream, right? So there's options with that. Trifold, still looking for the example with that one.
Sophia just clicked on the Diamond Fold book and it took her to her Chinese website.
Oh,
None of it
nice.
was in English.
None of it was in
Like
English.
Like a bidding war or something.
A bidding war, that's
Well,
crazy.
it's like 509,000.
That's funny. Okay, don't click on that link. I have 4 print-offs of that one, of the steps that used to be on that link. So So I'll try to scan them and put them back in. So ladies online, if you want to do the diamond fold one, I've got this. I'm gonna scan it in and I'll upload that on how to do it. So if you're interested in the diamond fold one, I'm gonna set this over here because it needs scissors and glue. You can get the basics, but you can create it at home if you want. Your other option, like if you know you want to make this one, I could literally get snap photos of each of the pages.
Do we have to use this white paper or can we use different?
You can use different paper.
We can use like scrapbook paper.
Yeah. You have all sorts of ideas now.
So we're just writing a book about, clothing.
You could be illustrating it, you could be writing in it, you could be pulling in pictures
Of something
of
inspirational.
a person that was inspirational to you.
Maybe a dog.
Is the dog inspirational to you?
He inspires me every day.
Well, then I'd buy it. All right, if you use an X-Acto knife, I just ask that you use it at the cutting mat so we don't chop up the tables. If you want to get supplies and get like the bare basics of the cuts and then take it with you and work, that's perfectly fine. If you want to make it here, that's fine too. Okay, so if you need to get a book, those pages, so I would use them for the cover or the back cover. I grabbed one out. So less glue is better. The more glue you have, it's just gonna make your paper really wrinkly. So if you have like tons and tons of glue on it, less glue better. The accordion fold one though is just gonna give you pages. You can either go vertical or horizontal. But it does make, like if I have to research something and I'm going to be putting it together information wise, I'm more inclined to like want to do it. If it's not just a little wonky.
When is this due?
Next week.
And can we only put pictures or do you want words?
No, you can write about your dog. Doggo.
And they can be like printed or drawn
Yep. All
or
right.
like more points for drawing it or
Would you like more points for drawing it?
No, I think printing should be equal.
Printing is just fine.
I think it's the same amount of points. Because not everyone's are.
All right, so here's the deal. Here's my suggestion. I have a few that are like thin, sturdy cardboard. I would just get two that match. If you want to do the accordion fold, I do have plenty of cereal boxes that you can select from if you want that.
The accordion fold, the diamond fold?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But you recommend having?
You want to do the circle book? Yeah. Does the link actually work?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
God
It's a
bless
great
you.
place to start. I would do a 10-inch circle, I feel like.
God bless you.
And then we can just pick any book.
What's that?
Okay.
So we're doing this one, we
You
just
can
like
do this one.
cut out pieces of
Well,
our
what do you want?
pages we just made and then
Yeah,
glue
you
them on
could.
there.
I got the
Alright.
cardboard. You only need two for the.
You only need two cardboards, one for the front, one for the back.
Match. It's supposed to match.
Well, one's the front of the box and one's the back of the box.
Oh, but they're different, size.
So then don't take them
Here, try this side. Or try it.
or trim it.
Oh, that's a G.
Oh, crap.
Oh,
You're gonna
wow.
post these on the line, right?
Then we have a book to do.
Okay, we have lots to do.
And a book?
Is our lesson plan on the literacy plan?
Yes.
We need to grab.
Wait, we have a lesson plan?
It's the same three things every time.
It's the same thing every week.
Oh, I thought this was our lesson plan.
No, but they could be. You could just write a lesson about this and it's the example.
Okay.
All right.
So then what, do we have to put like the things we painted or whatever in our book?
You can, you don't have to. It's an option. You now have the option of colored paper in case you didn't have that before.
Is this the last one?
Yeah, so like, you do have an art and literacy lesson plan. You have your book review, which is your journal review for the week. Creating your book, your whether it's accordion fold / whatever else it was called on there, trifold. Either book will work. So you're making a book, you're reading a book and writing about it, and then you're making a lesson plan. It's a lot each time, but it's just the same amount of a lot.
Write in our book, or can we just put pictures? But you don't have to picture and write.
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
All right, Caitlin and Liza, what kind of questions do you have? A lot was thrown there right at the end.
I don't have any questions. I think I'm good.
You think you're good?
Same.
Okay, I would say 90% of the students in here are packing up their materials to take it with them to work on it right now. So there's not a whole lot else that I can help you with if you don't have any questions on it. It's just going to be work time from here on out, okay?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Email me with any questions, all right, ladies?
Yes.
All right, thanks.
I need to keep full time space for that. I had it last year too, and like, still, that's good.
Hang on, somebody's supposed to do that.
Relatively new.
Did you grab a book? No, I have tons of children. I hate to do it. I'm scared to come on. Get Elmer.
Creating a lesson plan that is integrating art and literacy. You could do this with any of the literacy strategies we did in class, or you can come up with one that goes with the book that you are creating. 4 things due for next week: illustrated book review, creating the mini book about a person of inspiration, and your lesson plan that is integrating art and literacy. If you have an idea of what you want to do for your final lesson plan that you're presenting, that would be great to kind of work on that maybe a little bit more. And then there is the exit ticket that you'll do that's on the Google Doc, okay?